ladies, get them here. Where are you coming?
Come on, who wants one for £1? One. £1 the Chelsea hat. Come along, don't say you bought them, say you pinched them. Come along now. Here they are. Hey, Saturday! Hey, Saturday! Programme Bridge News.
Thank you, Tom. Good help.
Programme Bridge News.
With Wilson, he's got round him. Will he try one from here? What a superb goal by Nevin!
A lifetime supporting Chelsea has been a lifetime of promises, expectations aroused, only occasionally fulfilled. The failures have often been glorious, the successes all the more rewarding. 1989 was more joyous than many. A record run without defeat, promotion as champions. The Chelsea faithful never doubted that a return to Division 1 was inevitable. This, after all, is a club born with the highest expectations. It started life in the Football League and has known nothing else. A corner of southwest London, 1865. A cricket ground, an orchard, a market garden, a cemetery. 30 years later, suburbia has arrived, fed by the new underground railway. Beside it, the Stamford Bridge Athletic Grounds have been established. The London Athletic Club headquarters was here, a venue without rivals so close to central London. International matches were staged. The 3A's championships were still being held here at the beginning of the 1930s. It was Henry Augustus Mears who changed its destiny. With his brother JT, Gus Mears owned one of London's major building contractors. He bought Stamford Bridge intending to make it the country's finest stadium. Soil and clay excavated from the Piccadilly line tube tunnels provided embankments. When the work was complete, Mears expected that Fulham, then a Southern League club, would move to Stamford Bridge. Fulham refused, so Mears resolved to fill the new ground by forming a new club. Inspiration came from the enthusiasm of Frederick Parker, a former starter at the London Athletic Club, now a close friend of the Mears brothers. It was Parker who argued that the new club's name should be Chelsea. Undeterred when it became clear that the Southern League wouldn't have them, Parker raised his sights. He persuaded the Football League to vote Chelsea into the second division. To match the standard set by their ground, they'd already signed a squad of experienced players. John Tate Robertson from Glasgow Rangers was player-manager. He scored Chelsea's first league goal. Willie Fulk, an England international with an FA Cup winners' medal, was the goalkeeper. Willie was 31 years old, 6 feet 2, and 22 stone 3. The first home fixture in the league was on Monday, 11th of September 1905, kick-off 5 o'clock. Hull City were the opponents. Chelsea won 5-1. The attendance was 6,000. The next game at the Bridge drew 20,000. When Manchester United came in April, it was 67,000. What Fulham thought isn't recorded. Frederick Parker's advocacy was fully justified. Third place for the newcomers. That summer, Chelsea signed a 21-year-old forward named George Hillston from West Ham. He introduced himself by scoring 5 times against Glossop in the opening league game. His total for the season was 27. The weather vane, still at Stamford Bridge today, features a footballer modelled on Hillston, whose shooting earned him the nickname Gatling Gun and won Chelsea immediate promotion. After only 2 seasons, they were in the first division. An even more celebrated name led the team out in a benefit match at the end of that season. He created such a good impression that Chelsea signed him on amateur forms. He was George Roby, beginning an enduring link between the club and show business, even though sometimes the joke has been on Chelsea. In 1907, a new manager took over, David Calderhead, another Scot. He stayed for 26 years, surviving 2 relegation seasons. Both times he led the Blues back to Division 1. Chelsea also began to impress in the FA Cup. They reached the 1911 semi-final before losing to Newcastle. During the war, the great amateur centre-forward Vivian Woodward came back from the front line in time to play in the final itself. But Woodward refused to deny Bob Thompson his chance of a medal. Thompson wasn't fully fit, and Chelsea lost 3-0 to Sheffield United. The first season after the war was the club's best so far. Third in the first division, FA Cup semi-finalists. Had they beaten Aston Villa, they would have had home advantage in the final, played at Stamford Bridge. In those post-war years, no one endeared himself more to the fans than Andy Wilson, a centre-forward converted to a brilliant dribbling inside forward. Wilson captained the side for 6 second division seasons when promotion just eluded them. But in 1930, after being in doubt until the very last game of the season, Chelsea rejoined the upper classes. Back among the toffs, Chelsea spent like toffs. They went for the best they could get and never mind the price. Their first ever £10,000 cheque bought Hughie Gallagher, the finest centre-forward in the land. Although only 5 feet 5, Gallagher had been scoring freely for Newcastle and Scotland. Chelsea too would get value for money. Alec Chain came from Aberdeen for £6,000, a winger converted to inside forward. Soon they were joined by Alec Jackson, a winger known as the Gay Cavalier, £8,500 from Huddersfield. The grass at the Bridge had never seemed greener. Approaching the first fixture, Jackson and Andy Wilson bubbled with optimism.
Well, Andy, there's all the people. Tell them what we're going to do next season, eh?
Oh, well, you're one of the big noises. You know what I mean? You're the big noise, and along with Gallagher and Sheen and a few more of the boys. Well, it's up to you, boys.
Well, we're going to try hard enough. I want the captain to set us a good example.
Oh, well, we'll do our very best for that, and of course all the boys are fit in that, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't.
What about the Arsenal?
Oh, half the team hasn't signed yet.
Hey, there's Jack Whitley coming.
Go.
The forwards were all internationals, with the 4 Scots joined by England's Jackie Crawford on the right of this picture. Tommy Law was another who played for Scotland. The hard-tackling left-back was one of the famous Wembley Wizards. There were games including 9 men who played for their country. There was an all-international half-back line, Sam Irving from Ireland, Jack Townrow and Sid Bishop from England. Money spent brought money in. The first 5 home gates were all 50,000 or more. Arsenal, in November, drew 75,000. But despite a convincing cup victory over West Ham in foggy, frosty January, it was the same old Chelsea underneath. They finished 12th in the league and lost in the 6th round of the cup. The following season, Gallagher fulfilled every expectation. 41 games, 30 goals. His temper was as short as his stature. On one occasion he asked if he could leave the pitch to cool down. But when the aggression was properly channelled, few defences could curb him. Against Tranmere, when Chelsea wore their striped change kit, Gallagher scored both goals in a 2-2 draw. That launched an FA Cup assault that carried them through to the last 4. It was Chelsea's 3rd semi-final. Gallagher had the stimulus of playing against his former club. But as in the 1911 semi-final, Newcastle were too good for them. In 1933, Leslie Knighton became manager, but despite his experience at Main Road and Highbury, he could never lift Chelsea higher than 8th. Goalkeepers were often the saviours of the Blues in those interwar seasons. Vic Woodley was good enough to play 19 times for England in 3 years. He needed to be, because Scotland's first choice, Johnny Jackson, was in Chelsea's reserves. Whatever the results, the crowds kept coming. Nearly 83,000 saw Arsenal in October 35, a Stamford Bridge record never to be officially beaten. And the tradition of powerful centre-forwards continued. George Mills, who played throughout the 30s, was the first to score 100 league goals for Chelsea. He was partnered for a while by Joe Bambrick, but the Irish international never quite reproduced his best form. Joe Payne, who had scored 10 goals in a game only 2 years earlier, cost £5,000. In wartime, Chelsea played in 2 Wembley Cup finals, losing to Charlton and beating Millwall. Billy Birrell, who'd been appointed manager in May 1939, started the post-war reconstruction by signing Everton and England's Tommy Lawton. In the now well-established club tradition, he paid £11,500 for the best centre-forward to be had. The new man's first game was a friendly, the opponent's Moscow Dynamo. It was no ordinary friendly. The Russians startled their opponents by presenting a bouquet to each man. Estimates put the crowd at nearly 100,000. They saw Chelsea lead 2-0. Dynamo made it 2-2. And then...
Taylor through to Doling. Doling right through in the centre of the penalty area for Russia. And in goes Lawton. Lawton hooks the ball right out of Hovic's hands. He comes back to Lawton, a header, and a header. Goal! A beautiful goal by Lawton. What a goal!
But Lawton's delight wilted faster than his flowers.
I'll always remember the 3rd goal that they got, this Bob Ropp. He was 10 yards offside. And do you know what this Commander Campbell is now? I'll never forget him. He was a referee. He said, "Oh, I gave it for diplomatic reasons." Now, I ask you. So, I said, diplomatic reasons? I said, you've done us out of our bonus.
Lawton scored 30 goals in 39 games as football returned to normality in 1946. Lawton was a magnet. More than 1 million people passed through the Stamford Bridge turnstiles. But somewhere, somehow, the relationship soured. Tommy Lawton went, Roy Bentley came. He cost £11,000 from Newcastle. Bought as an inside forward, he was soon leading scorer, wearing the number 9 shirt. Chelsea entered the 1950s needing cup kudos to salvage another moderate First Division season. They reached the 6th round and drew Manchester United.
70,000 crowd Stamford Bridge for the cup tie of the season. Attacking the goal to your right, here is a new Chelsea. Fine teamwork, allied with non-stop attack, bring the Londoners an early reward. The man who puts the finishing touch is Bobby Campbell, and here it is. Nothing will go right for the men from Manchester. After throwing everything into the attack, they find their Wembley dreams dashed in a sudden Chelsea breakaway. From a Mitchell throw-in, the ball goes via Gray to Roy Bentley, who smashes it home. Look out, Wembley, here come Chelsea. On paper, it looked the cup clash of the century. In action, that's just what it turns out to be. Arsenal attacking the goal to your right, and Chelsea make it a cup semi-final to remember. A Hughes clearance goes upfield, and Bentley takes it from here. Arsenal hit back, only to find Hughes give a repeat version. Once again, his hefty long kick finds elusive Roy Bentley, and Chelsea are 2 up. A Cox corner kick does the impossible, dropping smoothly into the net. With only 15 minutes to go, Chelsea seem set for their first ever Wembley. But Arsenal have other ideas, as the Gunners throw everything into an all-out assault. It comes off, thanks to the Compton brothers. From a Dennis corner, elder brother Leslie heads in the equaliser. The perfect ending to the perfect match.
Freddie Cox settled the replay in extra time, and Arsenal again played box and Cox with Chelsea's cup dreams 2 years later, when Freddie's goals buried them in another semi-final replay. In the season between, only the narrowest margin of goal average avoided relegation. .044 was Chelsea's advantage over Sheffield Wednesday. Extensions and improvements kept Stamford Bridge among the elite of British stadia. On the field, glamour and excitement were rarely lacking, but the cupboard remained bare. No cups, no major titles. Enter in 1952 Ted Drake, a new manager with new ideas about how to achieve the old ambitions. As a player with Arsenal, Drake had scaled the peaks. At Chelsea, he didn't intend to linger for long in the foothills.
I had a feeling that they were very cup-minded. And I said to the players, I would like to win the cup, of course, but I would dearly love to win the league. And they really gave me the impression that they had no chance.
Drake tackled the image first. Just as George Roby had begun the music hall link, so the club's hospitality to the pensioners of Chelsea Hospital had also backfired.
You don't like that tag, pensioners, do you, Ted?
Not really, Max, no. From the affection side, it's quite okay. But from the old music hall joke, no. I think, if I can, I'd like to replace it with something else.
The new badge was a lion rampant. Drake's next objective was to make it raw. In his first programme notes, he asked the fans to be not just louder, but more committed, more partisan.
I knew that in time I would eventually come to a younger side, because that was always my ambition. And you've got to get the crowd behind youngsters, haven't you?
Among managers, the Trilby was giving way to the tracksuit. Drake was one of the first to leave the office for the training ground to put skills on a par with stamina. And there was another policy change. Round the nucleus of his inherited side, Ted recruited not stars, but bargains from less obvious sources. Ron Greenwood, a wartime Chelsea player, signed from Brentford. Peter Sillett, a fullback from Southampton. Stan Wicks, who played under Drake at Reading. Chick Thompson from Clyde to keep goal. Amateur international Derek Saunders from Walthamstow Avenue. John McNichol, aged 27, from 3rd Division Brighton. Seamus O'Connell, another amateur from Bishop Auckland. 18-year-old Frank Blunston from Crewe. Plus Les Stubbs and trainer Jack Oxbury. Ted Drake had warned that he would need 3 years to make a serious bid for the championship. He was patient through 2 modest seasons. 1954-55 began better. In October, Roy Bentley scored his 100th league goal for the Blues. A fortnight later, Manchester United were the visitors. There was another huge crowd and they were not disappointed, even though Chelsea lost 6-5.
Jimmy Thompson phoned up. Would always phone whenever he was going away watching, would always phone for the result. And he phoned through this time, and I said to him, we've gone down to Manchester United 6-5. And I said, Seamus have got 3, just imagine. And before I could say another word, he said, now don't worry at all, Governor, I've got a better player than any of those. And do you know who it was? Jimmy Greaves, our famous schoolboy international. It proved to be possibly one of England's greatest players.
Chelsea slipped to 12th after suffering 4 successive defeats, but Drake's belief in the unlikely team he'd assembled wasn't shaken. He was justified by an away victory over champions Wolves. Chelsea returned to the Bridge for a prestige friendly against Red Banner. Hungary's footballers were the yardstick of the 50s.
Outside right, Sandoy is there to take the pass. A centre finds Hitty Kuti, who heads it home. Red Banner went up in the 19th minute. The centre to Bentley, who heads it to Stubbs, and there's Chelsea's first. 1-1 now, and Chelsea are off again with Blunstone in the picture once more. McNichol takes the centre. Bentley shoots, and it's a goal. Red Banner take control for most of the second half, and here they go on the raid that leads to the equalising goal. Pelotas is the man who makes it 2-2, a fair result to a close contest.
In the league, Wolves, Portsmouth, Sunderland, the 2 Manchester clubs, Aston Villa, all had hopes of the title. Chelsea edged upwards, a couple of wins here, a draw there, keeping their nerve after a setback. Prospects looked hopeful, but the champions still had to come to Stamford Bridge. 75,000 saw them.
Just imagine to beat Wolves to win the championship, or the setting to win the championship. And Wolves were a great side in those days. And great match. It was a great match. And we had an amateur playing for us, Seamus O'Connell, and he fired this ball in the net. I thought, God almighty, it's in. And Billy Wright dived and punched it over the bar. Never forget that. And it was done so neatly that I wondered, had the ref seen it? But there was the linesman with his flag up. And as arranged before the game, Peter Sillett was to take all penalties. And Peter striding up towards the penalty spot when he looked across at me, and I was in the... and he read my mind, I know he did, and Peter crashed it past the goalkeeper, and that more or less won the championship for us, yes.
But with 3 games to play, Wolves or Portsmouth could have stolen the title. Chelsea went to Fratton Park, never a soft touch. O'Connell couldn't play, he was at Wembley with Bishop Auckland winning the Amateur Cup. The skimpiest of offsides denied Chelsea a goal. It was 0-0, 1 win would do it. Sheffield Wednesday came to the Bridge already relegated, a sacrificial offering to celebrate Chelsea's first ever championship in their Jubilee year.
Remember those jokes about the pensioners? No more of those now. Watch those boys go. The first one comes from Parsons' head. And doesn't that head get a ruffling by his jubilant teammates? A penalty goal by Sillett. A third goal by Parsons soon after, and it's all over.
50 years on, Stamford Bridge at last had a centrepiece for the frame designed by Gus Mears. And that wasn't all. That season, the reserves, the A-team and the juniors all won their respective league titles.
Well, on behalf of the boys, I want to say thank you. There's no need to tell you how pleased we are to win the championship, but we're pleased for you, because you've been behind us in other years, and more so this year. So again, from the bottom of our hearts, I say thank you very much. Happiest moment of my life. I was asked, would we win the cup? And I thought we might, but I thought we had a great chance of winning the championship even better.
I was delighted. I was delighted for everybody, of course, down there. I would have given my right arm to have won something for Chelsea, and I achieved it. I was so pleased for one bunch, and that was the players. Yeah. This little Eric Parsons, he was a diamond of a boy. He got some stick from the crowd. In fact, they would call him Rabbit. John McNichol, he served me well at inside forward.
Johnny McNichol scores the equaliser.
Roy Bentley. There weren't many better centre forwards than Roy. He thought I was crazy that we could win the championship. Possibly the cheapest buy in life, I should think, was Frankie Blunstone from the Queen.
Blunstone going through on his own, and it's a great goal.
Fans celebrated not just the achievement, but the expectation of more of the same. But the 54-55 team was a one-off. They'd given everything, probably outreached themselves in one supreme, sustained effort. By the start of the following season, Willemse, Parsons, Bentley and Armstrong were all 30, McNichol 29, John Harris at 37, virtually at the end of his playing career. Youth was still represented by Blunstone, and he was joined by 21-year-old Bobby Smith and by Ron Tyndall, barely 20. But the magic had gone. Chelsea finished 16th. Roy Bentley was leading scorer for the 8th successive season. Of all the Chelsea strikers, few were more successful, none more durable. Bentley's boots didn't stay empty for long. A young man from East London, bursting with talent, had been attracting television cameras even before he appeared in the first team. And no wonder. In his last season before signing full professional forms, he scored more than 100 goals. His name was Jimmy Greaves. It first appeared on the programme for a league fixture in August 1957. The game was against Tottenham Hotspur. The goal he scored was the introduction to a career without parallel in modern football.
Cross to Greaves, and it's a goal! Yes, Greaves has scored! And so, young Jimmy Greaves keeps up his fantastic record of a goal a game in his Football League career. Bringing it forward now to Jimmy Greaves. Greaves going through on his own, and he scores!
This was one of 3 occasions when Greaves scored 5 in a match for Chelsea, and Wolves were on their way to becoming champions. At the age of 18, Greaves had already won his first England caps. He was an international star, a family man with a house that proclaimed his allegiance. The goals came in seemingly endless profusion. At home, the trophies and mementos multiplied in proportion.
Here come Chelsea on the attack again. Brooks getting it out to Blunstone. Blunstone back to Greaves, who's hanging back very well. It's a chance for a Greaves shot. That's Cameron, number 11. Chelsea forwards crowding into the middle as Greaves trying to work into a shooting position. A great goal!
But, like Love in the Song, this affair was too hot not to cool down. In April '61, Jimmy Greaves was captain for the day in his final game before leaving for Italy.
He came here to Chelsea 4 years ago in 1957 as a 17-year-old, and he'd scored 100 goals for them before he was 21. Wolves, Preston North End, West Bromwich Albion will all remember the 5 goals that he scored against them in a match. Blunstone, Greaves in the middle, says Braybrook. Greaves gets his head down. There's a great goal from Greaves. Braybrook. Oh! What a tremendous cracker of a shot. And Greaves is there. Greaves to Blunston. Blunston, this running ball sideways. Greaves! Oh, and a hat-trick for Greaves in his last appearance. One wonders with some desperation what Chelsea will do without him next year.
Greaves signed off with 4 goals. His season's total was 41, a club record. When he disappeared into the tunnel, the fans felt almost as though they'd seen a mirage, shimmering and exciting, but too good to be true. The figures, though, didn't lie. The end of the Greaves era began the end of the Drake era. Ted had become the first man to win the league championship as a player and as a manager. His place of honour at Stamford Bridge will always be as the man who gave Chelsea the prize that had been coveted for half a century.
Right lads, we're going to demonstrate the throw-in, so make sure, in practicing this movement, that both your hands are cupped behind the ball, both feet on the ground, behind the line. The ball must be propelled from behind the head onto the field of play to one of your inside forwards. So now, from now, let's get onto the field and we'll practice this. Come on now.
Tommy Docherty had arrived as player-coach in February 1961. When Drake was sacked the following September, Docherty, aged 32 and with no managerial experience at all, was put in charge.
Well, of course, I was coach one day, I was Tom, the next day I was boss. And I repeatedly rang up Mark Busby, Don Ravey, Joe Mercer, Bill Nick, Tottenham. If I was in a quandary at any time or then little problems, they were all very, very helpful to me. So really I was thrown in at the deep end. It was a case of sink or swim, and I had to learn very, very quickly.
You sold a lot of players.
Yeah, I sold a lot and we gave a lot away as well because they weren't good enough. And really that's basically what was wrong. It was a team getting old together and they needed replacing. And we had the team at the Bridge. We had a lot of kids at the Bridge at the time just waiting to get bursting to get into the first team.
When Chelsea were relegated, the young manager threw his young players into a bold bid to make instant recompense.
It's a lovely centre now. Can Bridges get a shot in? And that's the first goal.
In their penultimate match at Sunderland, Tommy Harmer scored his only goal for Chelsea, but promotion was still in the balance. It all came right at home to Portsmouth. Chelsea won 7-0. Goal average mathematics did the rest. Docherty's judgment of young potential was totally vindicated.
I brought Venables in, Harris of course, and his brother Alan, a lad called Butler, Bert Murray, Barry Bridges, and I realised that I had to get a breath of fresh air into the club by bringing the kids through and give them a chance. But I'd like to emphasise that I didn't bring any of the kids there. Dickie Foss, who was the youth team coach, him and Jimmy Thompson, the scout, they brought them all there. And a lad called Wolf Chitty, who used to scout for as well. They were responsible for bringing those players there. I was only responsible for giving them an early opportunity.
Among the new constellation, Bobby Tambling was one of the brightest. The way he'd taken on the Greaves role had won him 2 England caps while he was still a second division player. This goal was in his second international against France. Chelsea now were more than just a bunch of precocious teenagers. The new all-blue strip showed fashion sense, and there was a stylish swagger to their play that made Stamford Bridge a fashionable place to be. 64-65 was another million spectator season.
Graham trying to get it inside Murray, a goal! Right wing corner, so knocks the outside left to take it. Oh, it's a goal! It's a goal scored by the inside right, Graham. I should think quite a few teams are going to have trouble with Chelsea this season. Onto Harris. There's McCready up there again with the attack now. This could be dangerous. And it's the third goal. Ken Shellito laughing all over his face. Knocks again. Graham, and a lovely goal! Scored by Venables.
the toe of Bremner. Collins to Venables. With Johansson back in defence. Hunter to Collins. Who could have put his team in trouble, Hollins. And a goal!
It was in this season that Chelsea unveiled another smooth-cheeked youngster who was soon to become an idol at the Bridge.
Skill, great attitude, 2 great feet, great in the air, marvellous heart. What more is there?
Peter Osgood. His debut was in a 5th-round League Cup tie against Workington. He scored twice, then went back to the reserves. But Chelsea went on to win the League Cup, then an infant competition in only its 5th season. Eddie McCready played centre-forward in the first leg of the final against Leicester and scored. As the season moved towards its climax, the Blues were prominent on all fronts. Their FA Cup run took them to their first semi-final for 13 years. They played at Villa Park, a seat of football history, destined to become entwined with Chelsea's history more than once during the Doherty regime. Their opponents in 1965 were Liverpool, the reigning league champions.
I remember we arrived at the ground and going into the dressing room. Terry Venables and I and Shanks were standing at the home dressing door, which they'd been allocated, of course, and just whistling away to himself. And he looked at Terry and I and said, "Aye, son, you're good enough to win it next year," he says.
Liverpool kick off against Chelsea in the semi-final at Villa Park. Chelsea in the darker shirts. The Londoners expect to win, and before long, Liverpool goalkeeper Lawrence is brought into action. Hamlin takes it, and Mortimer heads in for Chelsea, but it's disallowed. No score at half-time. And then Liverpool really come into the picture. A glorious goal by Thompson. Harris brings St. John down. And this time it is a penalty. From the spot, Stevenson scores. Liverpool win 2-0.
The season ended in disarray. 3 defeats in the Northwest, 8 players sent home for sneaking out of the team's Blackpool hotel.
I must admit that I was too much of a sergeant major. I was far too strict in hindsight now. But they went out, and it was reported to me that they'd been out to 2 or 3 in the morning by the hotel porter, which I denied. I said it was that rugby team that was in the hotel, and I'd prove it to him. So we got the keys and we went to one of the bedrooms, and 2 of the players who were supposed to be out were lying in bed fast asleep. And so I removed the top sheet, and they were lying there with their suits and the collar ties on. I don't know whether they'd just come in or they were ready to go back out again, but it was quite humorous at the time.
Chelsea finished 3rd in the league. Liverpool won the cup. The following season, the draw brought them together again.
There he is. Osgood is good. That's what the Chelsea fans chant about this 18-year-old. A great prospect this boy is. The thing to watch for in this match will be the overlapping of the Liverpool defenders. This fellow, the right back Lawler and Yates. Not a Liverpool forward has scored since the middle of December. It shows you how dangerous the defenders are. Now Thompson. Oh, it's going to be a goal. St. John Hunt. It's there. Corner to Chelsea being taken by Tambling. Which is an equaliser, scored by Osgood. Holy. Cheerleaders on the Kop are quite confident. They're still screaming for Liverpool, but it's Peter Osgood for Chelsea. Oh, what a beautiful mover this boy is. What a beautiful run. Well, it gives away my age, but that reminded me of David Jack at his best. So now it's a looking corner, up goes Yates, beautifully taken by Bonetti. That's a good clearance. Venables. This is Harris, the right back and captain, to Tambling.
Beautiful football by Chelsea. Comes Graham, lurking unnoticed on the right. A lovely centre to Tamling, and that's a goal. That was a goal all the way. Free kick to Chelsea. Remember, Leeds now with 10 men back in defence. Up goes Osgood. Graham hit the post, a goal. Tambling, number 11.
Go on, my little diamond! They'll have to open out now.
Doherty's Diamonds then trumped Shrewsbury and Hull City on their way to the semi-final. Back again to Villa Park, this time to play Sheffield Wednesday.
It was a very, very heavy Villa Park, unfortunately, and it didn't suit our style of football at all. They had big defenders like Vic Mobley was playing, you know, and Jerry Young, and they had a fullback that used to chip a good winger. I forget his name now. But it was a heavy pitch, and it didn't really suit the style of Chelsea Football Club.
And a terrific roar greets Chelsea. And Chelsea looking like Inter Milan in blue and black stripes as against the Real Madrid colours of Sheffield Wednesday, all in white. This is Phantom. It's a good one. Ford has scored. A goal. 60 seconds to go. As far as the Wednesday supporters are concerned, it's all over now. And here's Ford. He's got McCalliog in the middle. He's got Pugh in the middle. There's McCalliog. A goal! That is it. McCalliog has scored against his old club.
It hurt, but there was balm for bruised pride. Chelsea were still pursuing a European trophy in their second season of Fairs Cup football. Against Roma, Terry Venables put Chelsea ahead. Roma equalised, Venables scored again. It was a sour tie, but Chelsea reacted positively after Eddie McCready was sent off just before the half hour. A fine third goal completed Venables' hat-trick in a 4-1 victory. Having survived a battle in Rome in the second leg and then disposed of Vienna Sport Club in the next round, Chelsea then fell 2 goals behind away to Milan.
Our watch now, 45 seconds left. Venables. Comes Boyle. Harris breaking on the right. And it's a goal! That could do it. It's a goal scored by Graham. And it's 15 seconds from the end.
At Stamford Bridge, Bobby Tambling's corner set up an even more emphatic George Graham header. The scores were level on aggregate. Then came Oscar, 4 days before his 19th birthday, striking another superb goal. But Milan levelled on aggregate, and it took a third game, extra time, and the toss of a coin to get Chelsea through. Eventually, they met Barcelona in the semi-final, losing 2-0 in the Nou Camp, although that first leg should have been in London.
We were due to play them at the Bridge, and we had 2 or 3 injuries and 2 very good players, and it was raining, but not that heavy, and I arranged for the fire brigade to come in the night before and flooded the pitch even more. And the referee came to examine the pitch with his Wellingtons on, and he says the pitch was unplayable, but none of them could fathom where the rain came from during the night, but I'd arranged that with the local fire brigade.
When they finally played at Stamford Bridge, the fire brigade gave way to the police force. The other boys in blue were needed after Barcelona had a man sent off. With 20 minutes left, an own goal gave Chelsea hope. 2-1 on aggregate became 2-2, courtesy of another own goal. But when they met for a third time, there was no rain in Spain nor charity from Barcelona. Chelsea lost 5-0. During the summer, Joe Mears died. Chairman of the Football Association, he sat on the Chelsea board from 1931 and was chairman for 26 years. The next season started with a new look. Murray, Bridges and Venables had gone. Charlie Cook was making his league debut.
Now Cook. Let's see what he's made of. Graham up there with him on his left. Oh, fine goal. Beautiful goal by Cook. Good ball by Boyle to Cook. And tumbling, a fine goal. Splendid effort. Chelsea much stronger in the tackle. And Osgood to Tambling. Tambling's got to do it on his own. And he can do. The Chelsea fans really taking the mickey out of Villanova by just singing the tune of Strolling. And that really is what Chelsea are doing. They're strolling through this match. Deservedly 3-0 up. Much the better football. There's Graham. Graham again, maybe a shot for number 4. Brilliant save at Tambling. 4. Tambling. Oh, Aiken, what a bad mistake, and Tambling's got the 5th. His own 4th. Number 10, Cook. And here's Boyle onside. Oh, a bad mistake by Tyndall. Oh, you cheeky monkey. And there's the 6th goal, the 5th for Bobby Tambling.
On October the 1st, the Blues won at Main Road. Peter Osgood was among the scorers as the unbeaten run from the start of the season extended to 10 games. Chelsea were top of the First Division. But 4 days later, Osgood broke his right leg in a League Cup tie at Blackpool. Within days, Tommy Docherty had paid Aston Villa £100,000 for Tony Haitley. It was the club's first six-figure transfer fee. The new man's strike rate was less than 1 every 3 games, but there were important goals among them, helping Chelsea on an FA Cup run that reached the semi-final for the 3rd successive season.
People have said to me, oh, it's Villa Park again for the 3rd year running. I hope it's Villa Park next year again for the 4th year running. I always feel that if you're in a competition often enough and get to the last stages often enough and you knock on the door often enough, someone might open it for you.
One of the keys to the door is fitness, and Chelsea, with 4 days to go, are anxiously nursing the recently maimed. Bobby Tambling, 27 goals this season, has got to be fit. One player will be especially familiar with Villa Park, Tony Haitley, bought from Aston Villa to supplement the genius of young Peter Osgood, whose injured leg is now strengthening. Today's request by Osgood for a transfer is this month's story at a club where most of the disagreements between players and management have been argued out in a healthy, though surprisingly public fashion. But his players are all to Docherty. He's disciplined them, he's sacked them, he's sworn for them and been fined for it. He's publicly taken their side against the Chelsea board and been censured for it. He's worked many of them so hard that they've left. Yet he's warm, instantly likeable, and one hopes about to become a successful manager. One wonders whether a Chelsea team and its manager could withstand a 3rd semi-final defeat in 3 years. Chelsea will have no illusions about Leeds United, but I feel that this time they might even beat their opponents and lay the ghost of Villa Park.
Now McCready. Oh, Cook boxing them all. Great dribbler, this boy. Haitley, a great goal! A A minute to go. Giles with a free kick. Lorimer. A goal! He scored! A great goal! No, he's disallowed it. He has disallowed it. He's disallowed it. Oh, really? It looks as if Chelsea are there. Third time lucky. The linesman was signalled. 90 minutes are up, and then Chelsea are in the final. Third time lucky. Chelsea have done it.
Chelsea's first cup final for over 50 years and their first ever final at Wembley. It's also the first final between two clubs from London. Spurs in white, Chelsea in blue. Dave Mackay of Spurs, Ron Harris of Chelsea, and referee Mr. Dagnall from Lancashire. No score until less than a minute before the interval. And here comes goal number 1 for Spurs. Mullery's shot rebounds to Jimmy Robertson. Chelsea's attack couldn't match their defence, but even that defence was to crumble again. A superb goal from Saul with his back to the net. Two goals down, Chelsea's John Hollins proves that they're not down and out. And suddenly they're only 1 goal down. A dramatic score by Bobby Tambling, but Spurs held them off and held on to a record only achieved once before. 5 times cup finalists, 5 times victorious. Chelsea's hopes deflated like a balloon.
In October 1967, Tommy Docherty left, typically in controversial fashion. Wherever he went in football, he generated a new dynamism, an element of flair on the field, and a feeling that any day something unforgettable might occur. Chelsea was no exception. With a little luck, he would have given them the FA Cup as well. The man summoned to steady a rocky boat was Dave Sexton. He was the player's choice as well as the board's. Dave had been at the club before, working in the coaching background under Tommy Docherty. In the first weeks of the season, Chelsea had already conceded 5 goals to Newcastle, 6 to Southampton, 7 to Leeds. They were relegation candidates. Sexton's return wrought no miracles overnight, but at least Osgood was back and scoring.
I put on 2 stone in weight, which didn't help, obviously, just sitting around. And unfortunately, I could never lose that weight. So it was a big disappointment to me because I honestly don't think I ever got back to that sort of style of play I used to play then.
But recalling the goals he did score simply begs the question, how good might he have been?
Osgood. What a good goal! Husband. Back to Osgood. Baldwin Osgood, a fine move and the second goal. Webb. Osgood. That's 2-1.
Baldwin, Osgood coming in. Almost an accident, but it's a goal. And Osgood's face says it all.
The smiles became contagious as Sexton lifted Chelsea remarkably to 6th, the next season 5th, the following year 3rd. In November 1967, he had signed Alan Birchinall from Sheffield United, fee £100,000.
Hancock's not back on the line yet.
In February '68, David Webb arrived from Southampton in an exchange deal.
Oh, what a great save, but it's a goal! A goal scored by Webb.
July 1968, Ian Hutchinson, a £2,500 snip from Cambridge United.
Owen presenting it to Osgood. Good running by Osgood, side foot shot. In comes Hutchinson. Number 3.
January 69, John Dempsey from Fulham for 70,000.
Yes, Dempsey cleared off the line and
The newcomers represented solidity to underpin some of the more mercurial talents Sexton inherited, not least the unpredictable genius of Charlie Cook.
My main contribution can be to sort of create something from maybe nothing. But apart from that, I've tried hard to make myself a much better professional into the bargain.
Chelsea haven't been able to carve out many chances for themselves in this match, if any at all. Now, Cook, oh, a beautiful ball to Boyle. A goal, a splendid goal.
And there was another brilliant teenager tuning up in the Stamford Bridge forecourt. Alan Hudson, born and bred just round the corner.
I hesitate to praise him too much because, after all, he is just 18 years old and he's only been in the league side for 3 or 4 months. But I must say that in those 3 or 4 months, he really has made very rapid strides.
Number 8, Hudson, it's a beautiful one, and Osgood, he scored!
Over those 3 seasons, Sexton's developing side became opponents to respect.
Collins, oh, he deserved it! He deserved it!
Poor boys. Oh, he got a good chance left then. And Harris really showing why he's caught a hard man. Not flinching at all, leaving Pugh hurt. It's not Pugh, in fact. Oh, a goal by Hutchinson!
1970 saw the departure of Bobby Tambling. No player has scored more goals for Chelsea. And about that time, Dave Sexton put into words a sentiment that echoed from decades past.
Well, obviously, I hope that we'll, for the first time in Chelsea's history, we'll be bringing the cup back to London.
Birmingham, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Queen's Park Rangers were all beaten. Osgood scored in every round as Chelsea swept to their 10th FA Cup semi-final.
Hudson. And Dempsey right up! And it's down by Webb! David Webb! Hutchinson in turn laying it off for Hudson. There's Houseman outside him, Osgood in the middle. And Osgood! Peter Osgood! Still he goes, and he's got a pretty tough left foot, is Houseman. Still he goes on, and a goal by Houseman! Hudson again, oh, through his legs. And now to Osgood. Hutchinson. Still Hutchinson. There he goes, number 4. Hutchinson. Oh, a nice little 1-2 there for Houseman. There it is, number 5.
And the 1970 Cup Final is just about to begin, and it does begin on this soft, sanded pitch, which looks rather like the Goodwin Sands. Lorimer. Appeal, it's a corner. It's a corner. And Charlton again in the accustomed position on the goal line. McCready with him and Osgood. 20 minutes gone, no score. And it's a goal! It's a goal! I think it's Charlton. 20 minutes, Leeds have taken the lead. Leeds had everybody up in attack. Now they've packed in defence. Hollins, Hutchinson, Osgood. Oh, it's Charlton almost put through his own goal. Osgood looking as what he has to do to score. So 5 minutes from half-time. Jackie Charlton was the scorer for Leeds. Houseman, Buey scored! 41 minutes, and Spraker's let in a sitter. Clark on the left wing. Clark and Jones have moved to create a gap in the middle. A wonderful save by Benetti. Again, 4 or 5 yards out of his goal to narrow the angle. Osgood. Hutchinson. And what great... Oh, no! Leeds are in trouble. Hutchinson. Baldwin. Houseman. Hutchinson. And again, great goalkeeping. It's Osgood. And it's... Gray was fouled from behind, but 2 great saves by Sprake. Gray. Oh, he should have slotted it through to... Oh, he's hit the bar! Well, he did the right thing in the end. Remnant to Giles. Clark, it's hit the post! A goal, Jones! Jones has done it! So 5 minutes left. 5 minutes between Leeds and the cup. Now then, it's a free kick to Chelsea. Bremner calling his men back. And to Hollins with the free kick. Hutchinson, a goal! And Leeds players have gone flat out, but watch this as Hutchinson gets to the near post, gets right up to it, and Spraker's got no chance. A great near post goal by this youngster, Ian Hutchinson. And it's a draw in 1970. The first time since 1912 a great match has ended.
Well, we'll be moving Ronnie Harris across to right back because I think that Ronnie can do a good job on Eddie and sort of keep that flank quiet there. In fact, I'm sure he can.
This is Gray. Jones, oh, what a great save by Benetti. Oh, tremendous save by Benetti. Madeley. Jones. And Benetti is hurt. Tragedy for Peter Benetti. Here's Cooper. Oh, what a save from Benetti. Oh, 10 out of 10. And 1 for neatness for Benetti for that save. Osgood. Now Hutchinson. Cook. And Osgood. Ran beautifully off the ball. And Charlie Cook, the man who made it. And Hutchinson building up the position for one of his famous long runs near to the penalty box, and up goes Dempsey and Webb as Hutchinson prepares to take the throw. What a throw that was. Dave Sexton much happier now. That's Marvin Hinton, the substitute, on his left. But Dave Sexton always looks serious. And what an epic, memorable cup final this has been. A great game at Wembley, a great game here at Chelsea, coming from behind to win. Chelsea have won it. Chelsea have won it.
After 65 years, the cup was won at last. Where others had come so close and failed, Sexton had succeeded.
The one time I knew that Chelsea was going to win the FA Cup, you know, you just had a feeling that we were definitely going to win it, was about, I think it was when 20 minutes to go when Dave Webb scored the goal. It was the first time I saw the Leeds players be behind in the ties we'd had. At Wembley, they went in front twice. We came back twice. They went in front again at Old Trafford. And when we went in front, they laid down. They couldn't match us. They said, we can't beat this squad.
London Southwest 6, a focal point of the swinging 60s, staged an old-fashioned knee-up. Next season, the cup winners were back in Europe with a new £100,000 signing in the squad, Keith Weller from Millwall.
Beautiful ball, Weller!
First, in the Cup Winners' Cup, came Aris Salonika, hopeful after a draw in Greece, hammered at the bridge 5-1, including 2 goals from John Hollins.
Paddy Mulligan now leaving it for John Hollins, bearing in fast with a left foot drive. From Hollins!
Then CSKA, beaten 1-0 in Sofia, 1-0 at Chelsea, scorer David Webb. In the third round, Bruges took a 2-0 lead in the first leg, but Chelsea won through to knock out Manchester City, the holders. That booked a return to Greece, where the trail had begun, this time to Athens to play Real Madrid.
We were winning 1-0, courtesy of Mr. Osgood again. He'd scored another goal in the final. And it was about 10 seconds to go. It was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they'd even brought the cup out to present it, and they equalised. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. And, of course, we had another replay. So we had to stay over, and on the Thursday, I just went down to the Hilton with Charlie Cook and Tommy Baldwin and just got pie-eyed, really. I thought, our name's not on this one, we can't win it.
Certainly a match in which Chelsea have been in full control throughout the whole of the first half hour. And now here's Webb on the break from Weller. And the corner kick. Well taken by the goalkeeper, Borja. There's Tommy Baldwin there to put him under pressure. Cook to take the corner. And Dempsey has scored. And there it is, delighted Chelsea fans, and that's no more than Chelsea deserve. In this, the European Cup, Winners' Cup final replay. That was a beautiful shot. I thought he'd have gone wide, but he fixed his spot, and Osgood down, kneeling down, and just waving at the crowd. And so, after 38 minutes, Osgood has made it 2. Well, they've got a quarter of an hour to go, 2 substitutes to use, but now Freitas for Real Madrid. He's done it, he scored! Real Madrid has scored. Freitas has got one in with 15 minutes to go. Grande moving down the right. This is Grande. Pitti and Grosso in the middle. Foco as well. And Bonetti rises to the occasion. The first time he's really been under pressure. That was a fine header by Soko. And it's over. The whistle has gone. Chelsea have won the European Cup Winners' Cup for the first time in the club's history.
Chelsea's reputation as exciting nearly men was being demolished. This was the second trophy in 2 years. It inspired in 1971-72 a prolonged campaign in pursuit of another cup.
This is Hollins. Osgood had never stopped going.
got it in, and it's given.
Houseman again to take it.
Yes, Garland! His first goal for Chelsea.
Hudson. Number 2, Mulligan.
A penalty.
John Hollins to take it. 4.5 minutes left. 2 goals each.
3-2.
A 5-4 aggregate after 2 legs took Chelsea to their second League Cup final, by now a Wembley showpiece. They met Stoke City.
Peter Dobing then with the throw for Stoke City. Smith is right up at the near post for Stoke. And Osgood had come back with him, and it was the fist of Bonetti. Turned in again, and now Greenough looking for it, and Conroy! Terry Conroy! The little chip there again towards Webb, and Osgood, and Webb won't get a shot in, will he? Osgood on the ground, and he's done it, Osgood! While he was on the ground, he's got the equaliser. The first goal Osgood's ever scored at Wembley. Red shirts are waiting to pounce now. Conroy going past Webb. A delicate chip there, a deep one towards Richie. Nodded down again, and a good save. And Eastham, George Eastham. The old man has done it.
It was nearly 70 years since Gus Mears had built his super stadium and founded a club to fill it. Now Chelsea had a team starting to win prizes. They planned to build a new stadium to house it. But what was intended with the best of motives to be the glory of the 70s became a major factor in a decade of many disappointments. Financing the rebuilding and the disruption to the ground created problems that inevitably affected the playing side, through lack of atmosphere, if nothing else. Players like Hudson and Osgood soldiered on for a while.
Hudson for Chelsea. Lock. Recalled. Hudson heard him. Osgood. Kemba, and it's carrying away. Osgood. 1-0.
But the camaraderie born of success was under pressure. Peter Osgood departed for Southampton. The indelible memories he left behind are reinforced by the figures in the club annals. Soon Sexton himself, the most successful manager in Chelsea's history, went too.
Well, it's very sad, you know. But I haven't got any complaints, you know. They've been very good. They're a great club to work for.
Ron Stewart, who had a 16-year association with the club, became manager. But this was the start of a very unstable period. 7 months later, the job passed to Eddie McCreadie, for many years Chelsea's left back. His longtime partner on the field, Ken Shellito, became his successor as manager. Irish international Danny Blanchflower spent 9 months in charge, but with no money available, couldn't avoid relegation. Having been coach under Blanchflower, Geoff Hurst inherited the manager's chair, but just missed getting the club back to the First Division. It wasn't, though, a time of unbroken gloom. Eddie McCreadie had no option but to blood the youngsters, led by Ray Wilkins, already mature beyond his years. The new East Stand was open, leaving Chelsea nearly £3.5 million in debt. But the raw playing talent was good enough to win promotion in 1977.
Wilkins with the long ball. What a good one it was too to Basson. Charles comes across. Good cross by Basson. And Swain!
On by Rooks, and Goodison scores!
Stanley! Oh, and Chelsea have snatched one back immediately.
Ray Wilkins was Chelsea's youngest ever captain at 18. Given his ability, he should probably have scored more goals.
A lovely goal by the Chelsea skipper.
But the range of skills and the intuitive awareness glowed in every game. Somehow, though, the promise of this generation suffered in the general blight of the 70s. The end of the decade saw the final appearances of two loyal and much-admired servants, Peter Bonetti had kept goal in 729 senior games. Not for nothing was he called the Cat.
Peters. Oh, what a game Bonetti has played.
And after 19 seasons, during which he set a club record of 795 appearances, Ron Harris departed. He didn't often trouble goalkeepers, but when he left, forwards all over the country rested a little easier.
Harris. Beautifully hit shot by Ron Harris.
John Neal became manager in 1981. Wilkins had long gone for £875,000, then a Chelsea record, but the restraint on buying players remained.
I walk in here every day and you look out there and you get a tingling down your back. It's a tremendous setup, tremendous support. It's all there to be done. It's just a case of getting the team right. That's the most important thing of all.
First, it came right only in odd matches, mainly in the FA Cup.
Neil. McDermott. And Lee. And away goes Rhodes Brown. Now, has he got the nerve to hold on? He has! Chelsea ahead! Rhodes Brown, the scorer, his first goal of the season, and it puts the underdogs into the lead. Played there for Walker. Can Chelsea find something here? Oh, Kobayashi, triple goal! Colin Lee!
Chelsea couldn't sustain that form. They scored twice against Spurs in the 6th round, but lost. (1982), a new chairman, Ken Bates, a man prepared to put his money where his mouth was, and never reticent about putting his mouth where his money was. A man who was going to make Chelsea noticed again, but wasn't prepared to put them through the bankruptcy court to do it.
Well, to start with, it wasn't a football club, it was a social club, with a bit of football played on Saturdays occasionally. It wasn't run as a business. There were far too many people on the payroll who weren't working. Even down, I think we had the only lottery in the league that lost money.
While the chairman made sure the club didn't go bust, the manager was having a hard time keeping the team afloat. It was a partnership with a common ambition, but their first season together tested it to the limit. Following a draw at Craven Cottage in April, Chelsea took only 3 points from the next 6 games.
In fact, from the Easter onward, we'll be saying as soon as we're safe, we'll put the kids in and blood the kids and give them a chance. But our lot were so bad they couldn't even get us safe by Easter. So we just had to hang in there.
And on a wet Saturday afternoon at Bolton, a Clive Walker goal staved off relegation. Nevertheless, Chelsea finished in the lowest place in their history. The following season, money was at last available for players. There were 6 signings. Eddie Niedzwiecki, Joe McLaughlin, Nigel Spackman, Pat Nevin and John Hollins back at the bridge after 8 years away. And there was Kerry Dixon, reviving memories of a long line of idolised number 9s. The season started at home to Derby. Dixon scored twice, Chelsea won 5-0. And that was only the beginning.
Flick on by Dixon for Speedy. That's good play by Chelsea. David Speedy. Chelsea must be looking for something here. It's Nevin. And here's Kerry Dixon with a great chance. And somehow he's made it.
Dixon the target here. Canaville. Oh yes, Speedy. Dixon. What a fantastic goal. Well, that was perfection.
Chelsea was sure of promotion with 3 games to play. The championship was still to be decided.
We just passed coach after coach after coach after coach. It was like the Armada, ships astern. They were going to Grimsby, being the champion.
Kerry Dixon headed the goal that rewarded all their labours. John Neal, the architect, couldn't bear to watch and retired for a cup of tea. After 5 years in the 2nd division, Chelsea were champions. the East Stand filled again to see how the Blues would cope with the new challenge. The Shed had little doubt.
Coughlin's there. So is Dixon. Speedy! Yes! Nevin. Yes!
Moving up a division did nothing to check the flow of Dixon goals. They also spilled over into the Milk Cup.
Nevin, great play. Teasing cross two, and that's another. Dixon gets his hat-trick.
But first, they had to go to Hillsborough, where they found themselves 3 down at half-time.
Chelsea starting the second half with their substitute Paul Cannaville on. Colin Lee's the man who's gone off. So Chelsea with problems at the start of the match, and they've got more now in the second half. Cannaville playing out wide on the left and involved early. Oh, what a start! Was that his first touch of the ball? Astonishing. Speedy for Chelsea. Mickey Thomas. Kerry Dixon wasn't offside. Is this number 28? Kerry Dixon took that awfully well. A quality finish from a quality player. Spackman battling for possession. Speedy to Nevin. Now let's see something from little Pat Nevin. And forced to turn by Mick Lyons. Magic goal by Mickey Thomas. And incredibly, Chelsea have pulled it back. It's 3 apiece. The ball for Dixon to chase, and he'll get there. Oh, he's found Cannaville! Chelsea have done it!
But still there was time for a Wednesday penalty equaliser. Chelsea won the second replay, but the semi-final was a minefield. Joe McLaughlin dislocated his elbow in the first leg at Roker Park. Sunderland converted 2 penalties. In the second game, Clive Walker scored twice against his former club. Beaten 5-2 on aggregate, Chelsea's misery was compounded by crowd violence during and after the game. In May, David Speedy won his first cap for Scotland, and the following season his scoring feats lent distinction to a little-considered competition. Chelsea won the 9-goal final of the full Members' Cup.
Still Chelsea in possession with McAllister, looking for Nevin, far side, away, not very far, another chance for Speedy! Nevin so skillful on the ball, and gets round Reed, it might go in, it certainly does! Chelsea are the first winners of the full Members' Cup final.
By now, John Hollins had been put in charge. The Blues finished 6th for the second successive season. But the man who'd been such a favourite as a player couldn't carry the fans with him as a manager. Discontent on the terraces became hysteria in the headlines. Bobby Campbell took over with Chelsea heading for the relegation playoffs. Despite Gordon Dury's second-leg goal against Middlesbrough, they couldn't avert the drop. As if that were not enough, the hooligan element again made their unwanted contribution. Bobby Campbell knew there was no easy way back. He needed experience, steel, and a leader on the field. He bought them in a package from Rangers, Graham Roberts to skipper the side and marshal the defence. Then he turned to Aberdeen for Peter Nicholas to do a similar job in midfield. The start wasn't good, 3 points from 6 games. That was followed by an upturn and then a flourish against Plymouth. Kerry Dixon was among the scorers. And so was Gordon Dury, a still maturing striker brought to the club by John Hollins.
Box jury. Well, he doesn't know how good he could be. People say he's going to be this, he's going to be that. They don't know how good he's going to be. Because when you live with him and you see him in training, and you see his assets and his quality, he doesn't know how good he's going to be. And once he reaches maturity at the age of 23, 24, he will be simple.
Here at Walsall, Dury became the first Chelsea player since Bobby Tambling to score 5 goals in a league game. When Bobby Campbell paid the club's biggest fee, £725,000 for goalkeeper Dave Besant, Chelsea were already well into a club record sequence, 27 league games without defeat.
Joe McLaughlin also brings height to the Chelsea set pieces. Dibble is impeded, and the goal counts, and it's Kerry Dixon's. That's Dixon. As he got away from Gale, he has. It's Wilson in the centre, 2-0 to Chelsea. Lake dispossessed, and it's an amazing break by Chelsea. And Tony DeRigo, who goes round Dibble and finishes it all in style.
April 22nd, the visitors to Stamford Bridge, Leeds United. One more win would seal promotion. Once again, the old rivals met in a game of more than ordinary significance.
Dixon will keep it in. Old bloke's been pulled wide. Kerry Dixon, the turn by Wilson. Bumstead, Chelsea are ahead. John Bumstead, their longest serving player.
1-0 guaranteed promotion. Manchester City's defeat at Main Road the same day meant that Chelsea were champions too. They took delivery of the trophy at the end of the final home game. When the party was over, the chairman returned to a serious issue that had clouded Chelsea's long-term planning for several years. They don't own Stamford Bridge. Negotiations to buy it have been tortuous. But the board have pressed ahead with plans for yet another new bridge. Plans that would surely get the nod from the shade of Gus Mears, whose vision started it all.
What Stamford Bridge is going to be for our supporters is home for home. Whatever they would expect to find in their home, they will find at Stamford Bridge.
When?
When is a good question. I can't answer that, simply because we haven't resolved the legal position over the ground yet. But it is inevitable. The timing is uncertain.
Best 43 seconds that were ever in football.
Well, the game started.
Well, they took it.
And then it went back to middles for a half.
Chelsea's second touch of the ball.
And then Dennis White's got the ball.
Dink from Ways, and that was it.
Passed it to Di Matteo and making a cup of tea. As Di Matteo started to run with the ball,
Everything appeared to be slow motion.
We're still celebrating the kick-off, really.
suddenly there was a telephone call, and I thought, shall I go and answer it?
It's just the space they give him.
Roberto kept running and running, then pow.
Di Matteo shoots!
Blink and you miss it.
Game, set and match.
What about this?
Just getting comfortable and back up again.
We give us a chance of seeing that someone sets up in front of us.
Possibly the quickest ever goal in a Wembley Cup final.
Just couldn't believe it.
I was just amazed.
Gobsmacked more than anything else.
Just jumping around,
Yeah.
cuddling my granddad. I was so shocked.
Brilliant.
I was shocked as well.
I've never celebrated like that ever before after 43 seconds.
Having an orgasm, to be honest.
I think Chelsea always lived on the memories of the past, didn't they? But now, obviously, the ghosts have been late.
Robbie Mustoe battling with Dennis Wise.
It's difficult to imagine that there's ever been a better 43 seconds in Chelsea's 92-year history.
Hughes and Di Matteo shoots! Oh, what about this? What about this?
Together with Eddie Newton's nerve settler 83 minutes later, it meant an awful lot of this. And at long last, no more of this.
Blue is the colour, football is the game, we're all together.
I'm pleased for the Chelsea people that are there now and the supporters that they've emulated us, because they keep talking about us and now we've gone. We're history.
I get a buzz every time I'm there, and it's exciting. It really is exciting now. In 5 years, I've never seen a club transform so much.
A club which had worshipped the names of Osgood and Bonetti, Hutchinson and Webb, finally had a new team of heroes. Some were Stamford Bridge born and raised, others were definitely not. After almost 3 decades of knocking, nobody could deny the quality of the football once again being played on the Fulham Road.
I mean, my favourite is Zola. You've got Vialli, you've got Leboeuf. You've now got even a host of new players now.
The foreigners that come in there, they don't look like foreigners. They do when you see them technically, but they don't look like they're apart from the rest. They look like Chelsea boys. They've mixed in. You know, you look at Matteo and you look Di Matteo and you look at Dennis Wise. They look like two cheeky lads that are from Chelsea. You know, and Zola, and they all look part of it.
Blues fans loved them, and they were quickly learning the English, for the feeling is mutual.
It's been very nice for me to find that the supporters were very, very close to me. They supported me very well, and this is why I gave performance. Without their help, I couldn't do what I did.
It was Leboeuf who put him through, and Schmeichel has stayed back, and Vialli has scored.
To say thank you to supporters, because they've always been so kind with me, so close with me. Shouting, screaming, Vialli, Vialli all the time, even if I was doing just a little warm-up.
Yeah, he's here, he's everywhere. Yeah, and yeah, I like it in England, in particular in Chelsea. It's perfect atmosphere.
That FA Cup victory marked a new chapter in Chelsea's long but only sporadically glorious history. Chelsea are back, sang the fans, as they had so many times in the 27 years since Ron Harris brought the FA Cup back from Manchester. This time, though, they were right. The new chapter began 4 years ago when the Chelsea chairman decided that it was about time his sleeping giant finally woke up. Step one was the appointment of Glenn Hoddle as player coach. Hoddle may not have had much impact on the club's league position, but his sheer presence brought glamour and self-belief back to the club, added 10,000 to the weekly gate, and finally saw Chelsea regain its long-cherished reputation as a good cup side. Oh yes, and he also signed Mark Hughes and Ruud Gullit.
Everybody kept saying it was a sleeping giant and never really achieved what they could have achieved. And I think Glenn, to be fair, went a long way to putting a stop to that, and made everybody more professional, the players, the staff. I mean, you look around the training ground these days and the stadium's taking shape, and it's how a top club should be now.
I think when you look back on Glenn's period of the leadership of Chelsea, he's a bit like John the Baptist. I mean, he arrives and doesn't do the job, he's preparing the way for somebody else. But the fact that Glenn arrived suddenly gave Chelsea a buzz again. suddenly meant that people wanted to come to the club, whereas, you know, there were some very nice, decent guys, Ian Porterfield, Bobby Campbell, people I liked as managers. With the best will in the world, they didn't have that glamour that Glenn had. And although, you know, we were 11th when Glenn arrived and 11th when he left, Hullet and Mark Hughes and people like that were willing to contemplate coming to the club.
Glenn was a good manager. He had his ways of doing things. He wanted to play certain ways, and it was nice, attractive football. I enjoyed it under Glenn Hoddle. He taught me a few things, you know, and about not football but life as well, I think, which is good.
Here he is again, another telling cross. What a goal! The ball from Hoddle was superb.
Success in the pre-season Makita tournament raised expectations, as they have been so often raised at Stamford Bridge. But the introduction of Glenn's beautiful game to all levels of the club was clearly going to take time. In the league, the club was destined for mid-table, despite typical Chelsea victories against Manchester United and Liverpool. As for the FA Cup, a team that took 2 games to dispose of a Barnet side that included Glenn's younger brother Carl could hardly claim to have its name on it, could it?
Early ahead of him. And Clark really committing the defenders. It's a brilliant...
A 1-1 draw with Sheffield Wednesday in the 4th round suggested not. Only those with fond memories of that epic Milk Cup encounter 10 years earlier travelled to Hillsborough with much hope.
Everyone didn't give us a chance, and everyone said that we'll go back to Hillsborough and we'll get beat. Everyone in the country most probably thought the same thing, except for the 11 players that went out on the pitch. For me, that was the most satisfactory performance of the season.
It was a great result, and that's what really made us think, I'll tell you what, this could be our year, you know, going all the way.
Gavin Peacock, who gets it into the middle to Burley. Chelsea have done it.
There was a little bit of belief, more belief about the place, and we went to Oxford, we went a goal down.
The captain, Chris Allen, and Beecham is in here. It's a great chance. It's a goal for Oxford.
Whereas in the past, I think we would have panicked. We just kept playing away, and eventually we got back in the game, and we managed to win the game 2-1.
Shot from Burley.
Victories at Oxford and against Wolves finally convinced doubters that this time Chelsea were on their way. A semi-final against Luton Town was hardly the glamour tie that fans had hoped for, except for the fact that it was played at Wembley, and the Luton centre-forward was Kerry Dixon.
It was just something else. The reception was phenomenal, and I'm very grateful for that. It was basically the most emotional day of my footballing life, and it probably eclipsed me playing for England in the Aztec Stadium.
The sun shone, and Dixon was too much the gentleman to continue the long and painful tradition of former players scoring crucial goals against their old club.
Peacock did well. Spencer, Peacock, number 2. And the gap now.
The return to Wembley a month later for Chelsea's first FA Cup final for 24 years was to prove a distinctly less enjoyable experience. Still, having beaten Manchester United twice in the league, hopes were perennially high, as a future Chelsea star recalls.
In the league games, Chelsea scored a goal and then defended very well, and United weren't able to get back into the game. If Chelsea had scored, I think with Gavin Peacock hit the bar, which was a great chance. Would have been very difficult for United.
Peacock! Peacock! Oh, he's hit the bar!
We went into the game really confident, started off really well. We was playing so well that, you know, we should have scored in the time that we was in the first half, and it didn't really work for us. They was always going to come out, be improved for the second half, and in the end they were too much for us.
I gave the first penalty away, Frank gave the second penalty away, and that was the end of the game, really. They just had a bundle of confidence, and they could do what they want. Our heads dropped, and the story of the game was over, really.
It was a wretched afternoon and a wretched evening for anyone in blue and white. But with Manchester United landing the double, Chelsea were through to the Cup Winners' Cup. In a season again destined to end in mid-table anonymity, at least it gave us something to look forward to, provided Glenn could find enough players to meet strict rules that classed even Steve Clarke as a foreigner.
It was disappointing for me because I'd been at the club a long time and actually ended up missing out in the first European game at Stamford Bridge because I was a foreigner, even though I'd been playing in the English league for like 8 years. And I think it affected us all the way through. We had to keep shuffling the pack a little bit and bringing players in that hadn't been playing regularly, and obviously that upsets your your rhythm and the balance of the team.
A potentially tricky tie against FK Austria Vienna was clinched by a vital John Spencer goal.
The best night of that particular cup run was the night we played Bruges. We lost 1-0 in the away leg, and we felt really confident we could turn it over. And as soon as the game started and the crowd got right behind us, I think we knew we were going to win it. And I've got a feeling the crowd knew they were going to win it as well, and it was a really good night.
Coming back from 1-0 was one thing, but from 3-0 in a European semi-final, that was definitely quite another.
I think it was a bit naive going to Zaragoza, gave them a bit too much space and time, and basically we lost it in the first leg when we was 3-0 down, which was a shame because we proved that we could beat them well in the second leg.
Oh, charged down by Furlong, it's in! Now is that the moment that the tide turns Chelsea's way?
The crowd got right behind us, and we very nearly pulled off what would have been a miracle.
Roared on by the most passionate crowd Stamford Bridge had seen in years, Chelsea very nearly pulled off the impossible, with goals from Sinclair, Steen and Furlong raising the sort of hopes that only a vital away goal scored by Santiago Aragon could dash. Once again, the highlight of a Hoddle season had been a glorious and memorable semi-final. But at least cup runs were beginning to be a bit of a habit. The following season was simply extraordinary. It began with the shock arrival of Ruud Gullit. Ruud Gullit at Stamford Bridge, surely some mistake.
And in May 1995, Glenn and I sat down and we worked on a strategy of raising the profile of the club and realising that with football, particularly in Europe, changing dramatically, and the European League probably no further than the end of the century away, there would never be a greater opportunity for Chelsea to try and get into the big time and drag itself to the level to fulfil the potential that has so often been talked about. And so Glenn and I identified two players that we would like to bring in. Those two players were Ruud Gullit and Paul Gascoigne. Well, history, of course, has recorded that we pulled off the coup of Ruud Gullit. We weren't successful with Gascoigne, and he decided to go to Glasgow Rangers.
I think it was a club that wanted more than that what they were doing for the last couple of years. And of course, because Glenn was there and I knew Glenn and I played against him, and then I knew also the way he wanted to play, I decided to come to Chelsea. Now, in the beginning, it was of course like a culture shock for me because I lived for 8 years on highest level. It was also something that I needed, because I think I lived for 8 years on a straight regime, and I needed also some space privately and also on the pitch, and that's why I think it was the best decision what I made.
Then came another present from Manchester United.
Ever since I've come here, the Chelsea fans have been marvellous to me. It could have been very easy for them to turn against me because of the United connection, but sometimes I was guilty of taking the game home with me. But since I've come here, I feel more relaxed in my football. The attitude to the club is a lot more relaxed, but certainly just as professional, that relaxed atmosphere has helped me, and I think it's helped my football as well.
It was a season that would end with Hoddle's appointment as England coach, probably the best reason that any of Chelsea's 19 managers to date has ever had for leaving. But before all that came the league. Well, by now 11th had a comforting feel about it, and yet another cup run. A third-round draw against Newcastle United was not a promising start, and a disastrous last-minute equaliser a far from perfect end.
Boys were gutted the result at Stamford Bridge, but we still went up there believing we could win. And then we played well and was unlucky to go down.
The game up there was a marvellous performance, probably our best of that year, and we were good value. OK, went to the penalties, but we felt we could have won it before then.
You're confident when you're going out to face penalties, and it puts pressure on the opposition, so you just do your best.
I think in that game we showed that we could do better than we thought we could do, and that gave, I think, the group a lift.
Having seen off one of the best teams in the land, Chelsea progressed to the quarter-finals in typical style, beating another Premiership side, QPR, 2-1, before taking 2 goes to get past Grimsby. A quarter-final against Wimbledon was never one for the faint-hearted, but eventually Chelsea won through.
The game was a bit of a stalemate, it was 1-1. I think it was a corner and then it got broken down and I was still up there, and then Spenny and Wisey combined and it come over. And all I can remember, I was just going mad. I was thinking, yes, and I was just running. I don't know, I was just thinking, just stay that way, and I was like, glory boy, I just want to hug the glory. But Sparky scored and spoiled it, but we still got through anyway.
The prize was a semi-final draw against Manchester United on a cabbage patch of a pitch that had once been Villa Park. Those whose memories stretch back to the 1960s, when Chelsea contested 3 FA Cup semi-finals in a row at the Aston Villa ground, travelled with expectations a little on the low side. The one bit of good news was that this time Mark Hughes was playing for us.
I was doing my jinking left winger impression, and I was able just to swing it over, and Rudy was able to nod it in through the dreadlocks. So
we survived to half-time and we'd got it reorganised, and then to start off the second half the way we did, losing Terry Phelan straight away. I think you can carry one injury in a game like that, but to get another one so soon afterwards and then have to reshape the team again, I think we lost our way a little bit.
The injuries and a back pass that reflecting on an afternoon when Michael Dewberry ran his studs off on the right wing. One man had already worked out what was needed if Chelsea were ever to go that extra mile.
We just missed the quality, you know, that they had more than we had. We could cope with them one half, but then later on, you know, it was just difference in class that they had.
Hullet would get the chance to do something about it sooner than he could possibly have imagined.
Warm welcome to Glenn, and congratulations on the appointment from everybody at the Football Association, including Terry, of course.
I think it's the most rewarding job I've done in football. I mean, I'm very proud of the fact that I can leave with a foundation that I've built. Not just myself. I think that's very unfair. I should be saying there's a lot of people, a lot of backroom staff, all the staff, Peter, Eddie, Graham, Quinn Williams, the whole lot, the medical staff, and plus the players. So there's a lot of people, but it was a very sad occasion for me. It's a very sad. It was done with a heavy heart, and as I've said, there is no way that I would have left Chelsea Football Club for any other club in Europe. This is the only job, really, that I would have left the club for.
Hoddle's 3-year experiment was over. Chelsea's league form remained gloriously inconsistent, and despite 3 thrilling cup runs, silverware was still conspicuous by its absence. But the fans knew a revolution had taken place, that at last something special was happening at Stamford Bridge. They also knew exactly who they wanted to continue Hoddle's work, as they made abundantly clear at the last game of the season.
Unbeaten run.
And it's an amazing break by Chelsea. And Tony DeRigo, who goes round Dibble and finishes it all in style and surely quell the Manchester City fire.
Campbell consolidated promotion with a hugely impressive 5th place and another victory in the Full Members' Cup. His second season, however, saw Chelsea slip to 11th. As for cups, Oxford knocked us out of the FA Cup. Only the League Cup, then lumbering under the Rumbelow banner, offered much hope, especially after a win over Spurs in the 5th round. But sadly, especially for Campbell, there was to be no repeat of 1985 when Chelsea faced Sheffield Wednesday in the 5th round. Ian Porterfield's season and a half in the limelight had arrived. His first move was not a popular one.
To Dixon, to the back of the net. Dixon is there first.
And Dixon with the touch, and that's another. Dixon gets his hat-trick.
And he reaches the cross and scores! Kerry Dixon!
I was basically told that I wasn't going to be in the plans for the forthcoming season. I decided that Kerry Dixon at the age of 31 didn't really need reserve team football. One of the sad aspects was I was 9 goals short of the record, Bobby Tamblin's.
But with Steve Clarke, Graham Lasso and Dennis Wise already in the side and the signing of Paul Elliott, it wasn't all bad news, especially when Chelsea made it to the quarter-final of the 1992 FA Cup.
Typical of Chelsea, insofar as we can go out and play well against people that mattered, but there'd always been some unfashionable, unassuming type of opposition that would turn around and get the better of us.
It was an equaliser by one of those sides that took Chelsea back to Roker Park and out of the FA Cup.
There were a lot of potentially very high moments at Chelsea in those days, and unfortunately they all ended in sort of disappointment. But that's something that was a sign of the times then.
One of those high moments that didn't end in disappointment came when Chelsea finally beat Liverpool at Anfield for the first time in 56 years.
But I've always said the most important player at the club is Dennis Wise. He was then when I was there, and he's in his 8th season now, and he is the most important component in the side. He brings something to Chelsea that you said to yourself, if he wasn't there, the club wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't have the same, I mean, the team wouldn't have the same stability, the same reassurance, the same will to win.
But despite such one-off successes, league positions of 14th and 11th, the latter eventually secured by his short-lived replacement Dave Webb, was never going to be good enough to keep Porterfield in a job. With the arrival of Glenn Hoddle, our story is about to turn full circle, and all because things off the pitch were finally going the club's way. Ken Bates' 10-year battle to keep Chelsea at Stamford Bridge may have cost millions of pounds in legal fees, but it had seen off 2 property development companies and a house builder. With the property market in the grip of recession, the freehold of Stamford Bridge ended up in the hands of the bank. Both sides were confident they could do business. Then, just when it was all getting straightforward, Matthew Harding, a fanatical Chelsea fan with seemingly limitless amounts of cash, arrived on the scene, and it all got complicated again.
You know, he was the new boy on the block, and he was a media man. He was ideal and he enjoyed being in the limelight. So that's when all the stories kept drifting out that I didn't agree with this and he didn't agree with that. But he never said anything like that to my face.
And I think, if I may say so, that one of the reasons why Ken found it so difficult to adjust to Matthew Harding is that Ken could never understand, if Matthew cared as much as he did about Chelsea, why during all that time in the 80s, and Matthew had, you know, he didn't have as much money as he ultimately had, but he had quite a lot of money in those days, didn't come down and offer to lend a hand when the club was nearly going under. And of course he could never understand why Matthew suddenly emerged and seemed to want Ken to sort of shuffle off the stage and Matthew to take over, just when Ken, after more than a decade of really hard work, had got the club right, you see.
Unlike Bates, Harding courted publicity and was not afraid to put his money where his mouth was, largely in the shape of short-term loans to build the splendid stand that now bears his name, and for the buying of players. His only long-term investment was the freehold to the ground itself, although the club retain an option to buy it back at a pre-agreed price. That is still the intention of Chelsea pitch owners. Harding's largesse and outgoing nature made him a firm favourite with the fans, but not always with Ken Bates.
The tragic death of Matthew Harding has touched not only the footballing nation, but the whole nation. Harding and 4 others perished when their helicopter came down in Cheshire.
But at the time of his tragically early death, the differences between them had been settled, ironically at a meeting at which Bates had planned to repay all the outstanding loans and sever all links between Harding and the club.
We gave him his player loan money back, which was in fact only £2.7 million. And I suggested, in fact, that it would be better if we parted. And within 7 days, we'd done a deal. That's when he put another £5 million, £10 million in the club. So a total of 15. That's what he bet to win the club, £15 million. And we never looked back. I mean, we then became good friends again.
But if Harding's aim was to see a top-class side playing at a top-class ground, he couldn't be disappointed with the way Rudy's revolution was going.
In the middle, Vialli scampers to a good position. Hughes! Off the post! Put it in!
The game that we had to play against Tottenham, I think then from that game on we started to play. I think then there was a different atmosphere. There was something like a lift or something, a spiritual lift or something.
It was a revolution that began with the signing of Gianluca Vialli, a player who came to symbolise the new cosmopolitan era that was dawning at Chelsea.
I knew that they were a very good club in the early 70s, and I knew that the last 25 years they didn't win anything.
Then came Roberto Di Matteo, a player who would make history with a club record transfer fee of £4.9 million and would repay it all with one strike of the ball. Thankfully for the club accountants, he managed a few more along the way. Frank Leboeuf soon joined them, a Frenchman whose tackling and powerful passing made him the most creative defender Chelsea had had since Hullet gave up playing sweeper. But an already absorbing season was transformed by the signing of Gianfranco Zola, introducing a player very much in the mould of Chelsea favourites, such as Nevin, Cook and Blundstone. Only he was probably better than all of them on a good day, which happily, for his army of fans, was most days.
I think it was a boost to the fans who obviously felt like we all did, the tragic loss of Matthew. Came out of the blue that he was available, and because we'd expressed an interest previously, we got the first bite at the cherry. And I remember taking the call and ringing Rude and saying there is an opportunity to get Zola, and within 3 days we had wrapped it up, and obviously from there he has proved a tremendous influence and a great impact not only on Chelsea but the English game.
With so many new players arriving, it was too early to be considered as serious championship contenders, but the FA Cup looked a real possibility, at least until we drew Liverpool in the 4th round.
The match didn't start very well because we were 2 down after 25-30 minutes.
We were not playing so bad, but they have 2-3 occasions they scored 2 goals. Could be the kill everyone, but not us.
We didn't feel as though we were so far out of the game that we weren't going to get back in it. We had a chat at half time and the manager said, look, if you get the next goal, get it back to 2-1, anything can happen.
He said, let's start playing football. And now he changed a little bit the tactic in the half time.
I knew that they could win the game. I was very calm also, because I knew that we made some mistakes. I knew also where their weakness was.
With Di Matteo putting John Barnes under pressure, the stage was set for the arrival of Mark Hughes.
I actually thought the lad was going to get a tackle in, but he didn't, so I just swung a boot on it. Didn't hit it particularly well, but very pleased to see it go in the bottom corner.
Oh yes! That's what they were missing!
The way we attacked, the manner in which we attacked them, we were quite ruthless. We got at them and we caused a very good side like Liverpool to look very ordinary.
Now could Zola go one from here? Oh yes, he can! It's 2-2!
It was very, very good goal, and sometimes I try to do the same thing in training, but I'm not able to do it anymore. So a very, very, very special goal.
That was as good a spell as I've been involved in. I think for drama and actual excitement and buzz of being involved in something like that was unbelievable.
Violi for Chelsea! It's 3-2! Can you believe this?
We could have scored more than 4, and they scored the last 2. Of course, my feeling was the end of the match. I was the happiest man in the world.
Chelsea, Mark Wright and Liverpool look absolutely bewildered. Those supporters hailing one of the great recoveries in the FA Cup.
Having beaten one of the best teams in the land, Chelsea typically found it harder work getting past more ordinary opposition.
Absolute cracking drive from Di Matteo. Oh. Hughes, they've got a man over on the far side. They don't need him. It's 2-0. Hughes the scorer.
2-0 up, cruising. First half, I think we took our foot off the pedal and let them back into the game. 2-1, and then they got a free kick. I don't know, last 5 minutes, whipped the ball in. There's a bit of confusion between me and Hitch. I just stuck my leg out and the ball's in the back of the neck. Own goal. But bring back to Stamford Bridge. Still, again, we was confident we was going to beat them, and we was all over them, but they was holding out really well. We done everything but scoring that game until the end when Erlund went through and got that dubious decision.
I wasn't really very calm inside because I said before to all the press I wanted to win the FA Cup, and I have the chance to put Chelsea in a quarter-final. It was very important to score, and I say okay, forget everything, think just about the penalty, and it's why I look like cool, but I wasn't really. Tough game, but we won it, and that showed us that we can beat tough teams as well.
At Fratton Park, the quarter-final went rather more according to plan.
If anyone close to Mark Hughes, there isn't. Hughes! Here's Zola. And Clark! Can he follow it in? Space in the centre, found by Hughes on for number 3 for Chelsea from Gianfranco Zola. But Wise is in. Thank you very much. Chelsea back in full ascendancy.
A league defeat at Stamford Bridge suggested a semi-final against Wimbledon at Highbury was not something to be looked forward to, but this time there was a master plan.
I knew a little bit what they wanted from us, and we also knew where their weaknesses were. And we anticipated them.
It was probably the first time we actually picked a side to do a specific job. We actually played with 4 centre-halves along the back 4. Every one of them, Stevie Clark, Frank Leboeuf, Erland Johnson, Frank Sinclair, they're all centre-halves really. We just said, you defend, the midfield 3 defend, and the front 3 do the damage. Di Matteo, Zola and Hughes. And that's how it worked out that day.
He's got Wise going outside him now. Hughes in the middle with Burley. And Hughes! Yes! Chelsea have scored! Di Matteo is square of him. Zola's made a run right to left now, nipping in there. Oh, he's turned well, Zola! It's Zola! It's there! It's Chelsea's second! He's onside, Mark Hughes. It came off Chris Berry. Can he make it 3? Yes, he can! It's Hughes again! And Hullit's team are there now.
We went into the game so confident. There was only going to be one winner. You know, we was determined in the way we was going to defend, and the ability would come out anyway.
Chelsea were back at their second FA Cup final in 4 seasons. This time the team was determined that the outcome would be different.
Last time we had quite a few young players, a lot of players who hadn't experienced the atmosphere at Wembley before, and we was taken back by the atmosphere really. It was like the day first, the game second. This time it was the game first, the day second. Let the fans enjoy the day, but we're the professionals, we've got to go out there and get the silverware.
To be honest with you, I was more nervous before the cup final that just went than the one before, because playing against a team who's supposedly going to beat you. But this time round, it was like the expectancy was there.
Now the first sign of Chelsea on the attack with Di Matteo.
Well, I was actually just starting to try to organise the defence and settle down into the game.
It was just basically I nicked the ball off a Musto, I think it was, and played Robbie in the halfway line, and he just kept going. I just ran off from our half, and I thought, yeah.
Right, I was screaming down the right-hand side, calling for Robbie to pass it out wide for me. You know, I hadn't had a touch of the ball yet.
Oh, and a good run up front by Hughes.
I was ducking and weaving in front of him.
I wasn't too far behind him, to be fair.
Yeah, we're standing right behind it.
I was just behind Roberto.
I had a very good view. I was just behind the ball.
Just shows you we must have been playing on a straight line.
As soon as it hit the crossbar, it just seemed like the whole place went quiet, and then they realised that it had gone in.
What about this?
I went crazy after the goal, and I don't remember what happened after.
It's possibly the quickest ever goal in a Wembley Cup final.
I'd try to chase him, and I'd still be chasing him now if I didn't stop, I don't think.
It's Roberto Di Matteo inside 45 seconds.
I was running, trying to catch Roberto Di Matteo.
And Chelsea come away again with Newton.
We needed a second goal, and it's done, and it was very, very important for us.
And Chelsea come away again with Newton. Petrescu is to the right.
Dan Petrescu got the ball, whipped a great ball over, a great flick from Zola, and I just put it in the back of the net with my left foot.
And it's there! It's Eddie Newton for Chelsea. It's 2-0. And it looks like Chelsea's cup now. And it's a moment for Chelsea to cherish.
It was a blue day, all right, and the Chelsea faithful were in the mood to party. So, not surprisingly, were the players.
The best thing is picking it up. I wanted to go to pick it up, make everyone cheer, and then don't put it up, and then put it up, but just to wind them up. But I thought, no, I'll do it properly.
I said to Steve Clark to make sure that he was up the front of the queue, so that when they lifted the trophy up, he'd be on all the pictures. But unfortunately for Steve, as Wise he lifted the cup up, he was getting his medal, so he had his back to everybody.
I played only 3 minutes, but I could say to my nephew that I won an FA Cup.
We'd done the usual, we'd gone round the pitch, right round the whole pitch, and we got to the tunnel, and I think it was Graham Rick said to us, so look, this is the bit you should remember, so go back out, milk it, and that's when we did the famous Charles down the pitch.
I will just remind the whole day as something special in my life.
As the fans celebrated the return of the FA Cup to Stamford Bridge for the first time in 27 years, the players celebrated, and so at long last did the fans. Others, however, were already looking to the future.
And it's a very exciting time, and I, like everybody else, want to take that forward so that Chelsea really does achieve as we come up to the millennium.
Like constructing a castle, you know, little, you know, try to build it up. There's always somebody who tries to flick it up again, you know. Then you build it up again. And so when you build it slowly, 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 don't go too fast. Don't want to go too fast. Just step by step.
I'd like to see this place finished. And I'd like to see the European Champion Cup being handed to us on that pitch. Just this side of the Matthew Harding Stand.